Hello, hello. This is Erika Graiff of Becoming Luminous Women, and I'm so excited to have you here today. Today is a very special installment of the podcast where we will talk about boundaries and what makes you an empath. So, without further ado, go ahead and just allow yourself to settle in here today. I'm recording outside because it is the most magical fall, summery day. And the breeze is just gorgeous. So allow yourself to settle in and forgive any background noise here. As we welcome you around our fire, come and sit in the circle of sisters, allowing your wings to touch the sisters around you, the sister next to you, left and right, and then allow them to fold, allowing you to land gently on the Pachamama, on the Earth Mother. So, I'm doing some workshops around empathy and our intuitive nature. And the next workshop that I'm doing the end of October is around boundaries and how we as women who are sensitive and exude empathy very easily, very naturally, really need to begin to hone our boundary skills. These workshops come from my own personal experience, as well as years of coaching and guiding women just like yourselves through their lives and negotiating these boundary spaces for themselves, these boundary issues for themselves. So as you continue to settle in, make sure that you have something to write with, maybe your journal, some water to drink, remembering that we always need to be hydrating ourselves with water. And one of my guides, who was a teacher of mine, she has passed on and she continues to come back and tell me, Erika, tea is not water. You must just have water. So remembering your water here today, as we settle in and we call in the directions here, we make sacred space. So in your own way, in your own world, allow yourself to settle into the center of your heart. Maybe this is the first time today that you have taken the opportunity to breathe deeply into your heart space, deeply into your belly space, allowing that prana to fill this physical energy, this physical body, this ethereal body, your mental and emotional planes, filling your entire self with the prana that feeds us, that nourishes us. We call in the winds of the south, Sachamama, Amaru. We ask her to wrap her coils of light around us. We ask her to teach us to shed our past the way that we shed our skin, and to teach us the beauty way, reminding us to walk belly to belly with the Great Mother. And to the winds of the west, Mother, Sister, Jaguar. Jaguar teaches us our courage. I feel that she also teaches us about our femininity. She has a beautiful ability to teach us about our own vision, just like Eagle does, but in our own territory. And she comes and pads around our medicine space. She's the great protector. She brings that beautiful mother-sister energy. And so we welcome you and ask you, Jaguar, to come, bring us your medicine, reminding that we have no enemies in this world or any other, and to stand as the luminous warriors that we are. And to the winds of the north, Sierra Kinte, royal hummingbird, and to the grandmothers and grandfathers that watch over us, that whisper to us in the wind, that come now in our circle and warm their hands by our fire. Welcome them. Welcome the hummingbird that reminds us that to go on our great journey, we have to drop our baggage. We have to let that go. Each and every day we become a new person. We have the opportunity to become a new person. And hummingbird reminds us that we have to give ourselves permission to do that. Every day, only drinking from the sweetest of nectar of life. Only the finest of flowers that are put there for us. To the winds of the east, that's a big breeze. To the winds of the east, great eagle, great condor, Apuchin. Taking us under your wingtip, taking us under your wings now, flying wingtip to wingtip with great spirit, as they say. Allowing us to have a high perspective over top of our own lives, over top of our own family, our community, and as our global family. So we really can allow ourselves to have a high perspective that takes it out of the personal. No longer taking things personally. One of the 4 agreements. And then to the Earth Mama. Down to the Earth Mother. She nurtures us, protects us, empowers us, and initiates us. Grounding us, giving her blessing of gravity that allows our luminous energy field to stay in our physical body, balanced and centered. And to the sun, the moon, the stars, Inti Taitai, Mamakia, Yapanapakuna, Chaskakunas. The sun, the moon, star brothers, star sisters. Sun always shining on us. I have my turkey vultures overhead. They're flying very low. They love when I open the sacred space. Shining upon us. The moon showing us where we are in our sacred journey and our evolutionary journey as women. Time to bleed, time to rest, time to create, go outward, time to come inward. All shining upon us, reminding us how blessed we truly are. Allow yourself to take this time for yourself, sisters. Empathy, intuitive, empathic. These are words that a lot of people are using right now and have been using for quite a long time, but are we using them consciously? So let me give you a little backstory. Carla McLaren, who is the author of The Art of Empathy, The Language of Emotions, and a couple other books. She is the mother of the word empathic. Originally in her career, she worked more with the psychic skills until she realized that we all have empathic abilities. And I really believe that it was because she was paying attention to the shift in consciousness that was happening on the planet. So people were starting to, especially in the 60s and 70s, people were starting to notice that they could sense and have an emotional experience with another person where maybe before they had not had that experience and they had no context around it. So she began to explore that with her audiences and realized that it is not this sixth sense gift that only some people have and other people don't. It is something that is being awoken on the planet as a result, as a means of awakening the consciousness that is happening right now for all of us on the planet. So more and more of us are having these skills challenged so that we can have the opportunity to tap into them, understand them, and give them a place of honor in our life. Because let's face it, if something doesn't get our attention with a big expression, either it's a huge challenge or it's a huge blessing, we're probably not going to pay attention to it. A lot of people come to a point in their relationships, whether it's with their parents, whether it's with their classmates, right, when they're younger, with adults, and then as they grow into adolescence or grow into their teenage years and into early adulthood, they begin to experience this place where they don't have a sense of self internally. Now, when a young person is in those teenage years, that is the time where they're really experimenting. And if they have a heightened sense of empathy and intuition, they're going to have an even harder time understanding what is theirs, who they are, and what is not theirs within their own emotions, within their own thoughts. When we don't have proper boundaries, healthy boundaries, when we are not given the information on how to actually build them, when we are not given the permission by our parents and society to be able to hold emotions like anger with honor, when young women are taught to give over their identities to some societal perfectionist view, or to their spouses, or to the idea that their family upholds that they should be, well, then they have a lack of boundaries. When we have a lack of boundaries, it creates absolute chaos in our world. Think of it this way. If you did not have a skin to hold in your muscles, your veins, your bones, your organs, how effective would you be in life? We would just be, like Jabba the Hutt, I guess, just kind of a blob. Or I guess that would be if we didn't have bones. I'm not even sure what that would look like. We would just look like some blob, just, leaking all over the place. We'd be leaking juices. We'd be getting sunburnt. We wouldn't be able to touch things. We wouldn't be able to do all the things that we need to do as integritous beings, because it is our skin that holds everything together. Think about boundaries as an energetic skin that we actually have to mentally and emotionally choose to have. It is something that we have to allow ourselves to have. And I believe the reason why we have to allow ourselves to have it is because we have to mentally make a choice for what it is that we want in our lives. Thus, we have to sit in the driver's seat of our own lives to be able to drive this physical, emotional, and energetic being that we are here to be. Now, I know for some of us, this could be very out there. Like, what? What are you talking about? Think of it as someone who just does not have a sense of self, right? Maybe it's a younger person, right? They haven't gotten it yet. They haven't gotten their own personal identity. They're kind of elusive, and they kind of blend in. They don't really have a very high opinion about themselves because they don't know who they are yet. Well, women, especially because of our very natural tendencies to nurture and to be of service, well, the longer that we go in our womanhood without appropriate boundaries, the more and more that we actually become victims of our own lives. And I did a workshop on how this turns into a deadly dynamic, which is called the triangle of disempowerment. We become victimized by our own social circle. We become victimized by our own family. We become victimized by our spouses, our partners, even our children, because we end up giving, and thus the people around us expect us to continue to give without a sense of self, that informs us of how much is too much. And so people start to take advantage of us. You know adults like this, where people just take advantage of them. And eventually they begin to live a very lonely life because, or they become recluse, or they become, angry and reject people as a means of protecting themselves. And this is not what I want for you in your life, beloved. I want you to understand that your sensitivity is an absolute gift. Even if you are sensitive to fragrances and foods and alcohol and everything else, welcome to the club. This is the new club that's happening. I welcome you. We are sensitive to things. Things absolutely overwhelm our system. But this is why it is our job. This is why, wow, you should see these turkey vultures. Oh my goodness, we are so blessed. This is why this is our job, to uphold our own honor by choosing how we use our power. And by choosing the type of boundaries that we have, this is how we create our own honor. Let me say that again, because I think I twisted it a little bit. When we choose to uphold our own honor, it gives us the boundaries that we need. It is an automatic, energetic response that happens within your system, within your luminous energy field, that happens once you choose to uphold your own honor. Okay, so what does this look like, Erika? All right. So think of a relationship that challenges your boundaries. Someone that always wants something from you. Where maybe in the past you've given it to them because you wanted to placate them, you wanted to, be friends with them. You wanted to give them what they wanted or needed. You felt bad for them. You felt pity for them, right? You saw them as a victim and you wanted to rescue them. That's another part of the triangle of disempowerment, just FYI. Think of this situation and think how it made you feel once you gave something away that you really, 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 maybe you don't know it wholly, but maybe you can feel it, that you really didn't really want to give away. You gave permission for something. Right? You said that you would show up for something and you really just don't want to be there. You really need to be home, resting. Why? Because it's your moon cycle time and you need to be resting and honoring that time. Maybe there's a person in your life or a coworker or a neighbor, someone that you didn't necessarily choose to be friends with. They just kind of start to hang on you or tag along with you or invite themselves into your life. But when you leave their company or they leave your company, you feel more drained than you did before seeing them. That is an indication that your boundaries, the choice to uphold your own needs and honor, need to be evaluated and new choices need to be made. Breathe that in. Allow that to settle in. See where this happens for you. Maybe you do this to yourself. Maybe no one is pushing you on the outside. It's you. You are pushing yourself on the inside. Let me tell you my personal experience. When I was in high school, I wasn't shy. I was just afraid. I was really, really, I wouldn't say shy or insecure. I would say just afraid. I was afraid of life. I was afraid of people. I could hardly speak. And I did not uphold my own boundaries that said, Erika, certain situations really drain you. Certain people really drain you. And so what ended up happening is that I became friends with a classmate who did nothing but drain my energy. Just continued to take and take and take. And I allowed it. Because there was a part of me that didn't want to be the social recluse. Even though that part inside of me that was asking to be the social recluse was asking to be protected because of my heightened empathic sensitivities. Now, this was back in the 90s, the early 90s. And what I see now is that my generation was the second wave of this type of waking up. So the first wave was in the 70s. The second wave was around my generation. And now our children, my generation's children, they are very sensitive. You see this in children having lots of dietary issues. This is a part of their beauty. This is a part of their gifts. They can't take in the heavy, dense, toxic energy that is sold at the grocery store. They have to have things that are much more gentle and much more refined. This is a wave of the vulnerability that the sacred feminine brings in. And we all know that the sacred feminine is what is being asked to be honored now on the planet more than ever. In fact, the sacred feminine is what is going to is what is trying to awaken in all of us. The honor within us to be vulnerable. Thus, why I feel that this awakening is causing us to be more sensitive, because we need to be okay with being vulnerable, but not vulnerable and allowing other people to victimize us. Vulnerable in an honorable power place within ourselves. Once again, choosing to put ourselves into the driver's seat of our own choices, of our own lives, of our own energy and how we use it. So, boundaries. When we choose to say no, when we really need and want to say no, is honorable. Whether you realize why you want to say no or not, whether it's an egoic fear thing, whether you're unclear, choosing to say no, or at least until you get clear, pause and say nothing, or pause and give yourself the opportunity to figure out what's really right for you, is the best thing that we could do for ourselves on this planet at this time. Because what it does is that you hold your power for yourself, and then you give yourself the opportunity to feel into what it is that you really need at this time. This is another reason why I truly love the foundational medicine of following our moon cycle as women. To know where you are in your feminine moon cycle is to know what kind of power, talent, skills you have at that time. I have not found another foundational philosophy, way of life, way of being, way of holding our power more effective, more truthful, and more foundational than following our moon cycle. And when we do that, and we know where we are in the moon cycle, then we can choose to say yes and no depending on where we are. So, for instance, when we are bleeding, this is a sacred, sacred time. And our society has absolutely disregarded it. But that doesn't mean that we have to as well. Our society has thrown away the idea that women and our walk is sacred. But that doesn't mean that we have to subscribe to that idea. In fact, it is in our best interest to remember that we are in control and that we have the opportunity now, more than ever, to choose to align ourselves with our, what I call moon medicine, and to allow ourselves to make choices for ourselves from the information that each phase of our moon cycle offers us. For instance, when you are bleeding, it is not the time to be networking. It is not the time to be at a birthday party. It is not the time to be doing manual labor for someone else. It is not the time to be running around and saying yes to everyone. In fact, that's the worst thing that you could be doing. Your energy needs to be resting, because what the period does is it puts a period on the last cycle that you've had. A period on the sentence that the last cycle has written. Every day, everything that you have done, every effort, every conversation, every project, every vitamin, every yoga class, everything is in that sentence. And when we bleed, it puts a period on the end of it so that we can let that sentence be. It can rest. It can go in our book. It can go into the earth and be neutralized. We can let it go. If we do not allow ourselves to rest when we are bleeding and allow ourselves to go into that dreamy state and hear and see and feel the new vision for the next month, for the next cycle, for our big picture lives, then what happens is we begin to lose our way in life, and we begin to say yes to things that we really need to say no to. We begin to say yes to people that we really need to say no to. We lose our own inner compass. We lose our own inner compassion. This is why I love moon medicine so much. Pairing this with sisterhood medicine, which is something that another piece of the sacred feminine that is coming on board for so many of us now, that gives us the opportunity to connect into our lineage, deeper into our power, and use the power of presence and vulnerability and a knowingness that our sisters have all that they need is sisterhood medicine. And we uphold each other this way. It's vital. Good boundaries, healthy boundaries, moon medicine, using sisterhood medicine to not rescue our sisters, to just listen to them and to know that if they follow their own inner compass, that they will have exactly what they need at the right time. We support them in that, and they support us in that. Well, then the rise of the sacred feminine has darn good traction. And with that, I want to invite you to my next workshop at Yoga Peace Kula in Belmar, New Jersey. It's called Relationships, Boundaries to Uphold Your Honor. It's a part of a series of workshops that I'm offering called Rehab for Empaths, which I felt called to offer as I walked into this space for a very, very long time, feeling very victimized, very confused, no boundaries, having no idea why I was being tossed around in life for years and years and years, knowing that something wanted to come through me, but I could not get my feet underneath me until I realized that it was actually the challenge that was happening for me. Everyone was pushing against my boundaries, and I didn't really even have any. Brought me to a place of a lot of despair, a lot of pain, a lot of regret that I have had the opportunity to release and surrender as a result of doing this work for myself, work with clients, and continuing to teach this work. And so I welcome you. I invite you to come to that workshop, as well as in early next year, I'm hoping to have these workshops recorded and available on my site. But if you are in the Monmouth Ocean County area, I would love to have you there. You can go to my website, Erika Graiff, .com or becomingluMinouswomen.com. Both will get you there, and you can register through there. Let that settle, dear ladies. My wish for you is that you follow your inner compass. That every day that you allow yourself to breathe into your own heart and become still enough to listen to it. That you allow yourself to become who you are here to become. The luminous, radiant being that lives inside of each and every one of us. Because we are all on the walk to becoming luminous. And with that, let us say thank you for our directions. Thank you to the winds of the south. Thank you to the winds of the west. Thank you to the winds of the north. Thank you to the winds of the east. Thank you, Pachamama. Thank you, Inti Taitai Mama Kia Yapanapakona. Thank you to you, dear sisters, for being here, for listening. I honor you, and I thank you. Deep bow. Aho.